Welcome to Night Talk Show with Lumka Boys Hostel People. So now, today I present you Mr. Albert Baite to discuss on the topic, on a hot topic, LGBTQ. So Mr. Albert, first of all, thank you for coming to our show.
Most pleasure.
Okay, let's come directly to the question, to the topic. Mr. Albert, what is your view on LGBTQ?
So my view on LGBTQ is it's 100% haram. Because talking on a religious perspective, you know what, the LGBTQ community is completely based on their principle. They try to normalize sex between the same partners, which is completely against the Bible. You know, as a Christian, I said it's 100% haram. You know, and I would also say that those people who says they support LGBTQ, or those who say they are part of the LGBTQ community, they are 100% the devil's victim, the devil's propaganda's victim, right? Because the devil wants the world to be distracted away from God. You know, that is my view on the religious perspective. But talking on that, you know, on a medical term or something of a more technical, keeping aside the religious perspective, I would say that they are the people who are likely to be mentally ill, who are likely to get HIV infections because they have multiple sex partners, which is haram. So next question, please.
So Mr. Albert, your view on LGBTQ seems to be quite, quite dangerous. You might be right in some sense. Okay, funny you say that, Mr. Albert. So now coming to the next question. What do you think is the relation between LGBTQ and religion?
So like I have said before, it's 100% against the law of God. It's completely against the Bible. If you read the Bible, we see that what their principles are based is completely against the Bible and God's law. So I kind of like I heard so many type of conspiracy theories that the Illuminati. I hope you have heard of that. Illuminati.
Yes.
It's the devil's workplace. What they. What's interesting about is all those people who are singers, who are populars. It may be the movies industries, or it may be the music industry, whatever, Hollywood, whatever it may be. So you see some people got suddenly famous, and suddenly they started in their music videos or in their films they started promoting sex before marriage, or sex between the same partners or genders. That is we could relate it with the Illuminati, which is the devil's workplace. Like they have said in the conspiracy theory. So when we look deeper into it, like for example Sam Smith, he was a very gentleman guy. He was a gentle guy, back in the day. But after he suddenly got famous, there in the Grammy Awards, you know what he did?
What?
He mocked God, he mocked Jesus, and he tried to this polygamy thing, like sex with multiple partners. When we look into it, when we correlated with the Illuminati and they suddenly got famous and they started promoting all these things, evil things, which is against God's will. It doesn't seem as a conspiracy theory, it's more like a reality, So that's my take on it.
So Mr. Albert, now we have heard your views on this LGBTQ. The viewers have heard your views on this LGBTQ and the bad effect it has on the world and the people itself. So now coming to the third question, should LGBTQ be removed?
Yes, 100% it should be removed.
Okay.
Because you see, I would like to correlate it with the current situation, which is war. Imagine people where LGBTQ, our community, where a whole bunch of LGBTQ community who lack principles and who lack masculinity. You see, what are we going to do? We won't even stay the night. Yeah, that is one point. And the other point is, we humans, what is our purpose? What is our purpose? Why are we born? Why are we born on here earth? To serve God's purpose. God wants to represent ourselves, Himself through us, And when you are a part of that something community which defies God's principle at all, how is God going to represent himself through you? You see? So everyone should read Bible.
So now you have said that we should remove this LGBTQ from the place, from the community, from the world, from the country. So now coming to the next question, what are the means that the government or us people should take to remove this LGBTQ?
You know, so my perspective and my opinion is, you know, the government and the preachers, pastors, reverends, all the others preachers who may not be pastor reverends, and the people us to us has to work together and pursue towards removing this thing, because like I have said before, like we have discussed before, it's a completely haram thing, and it's devastation to our society. It's if they keep growing, they're going to put people more in, and our society will collapse, and even after they die, they're going to enter hell. So like I said, the government and the preachers, the pastors, the reverends, and us has to work together. For example, the government can do something like making it a crime, or completely saying that LGBTQ is against the law, like in Russia and Uganda. Like they have said, LGBTQ is against the law, and they have to be imprisoned for many years if they claim themselves to be LGBTQ. So that is something the government has to do, and the preachers can preach on a religious perspective, like according to the Bible, this, and us, we have certain roles, like spreading awareness. It may be on religious issue. It can be on more of technical, like if you are this, if you have multiple sex partners or whatever this, you may have HIV, or you may have this. Okay. So and let me add something to it. The other day I have a friend, I have a friend who said he's a part of the LGBTQ community. And I asked him, what is your gender? He said, I'm queer. What the fuck is queer? What the fuck is queer? What the fuck is queer? Can you please explain what the fuck is queer?
I don't know. What is it?
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah. That's what they said. I'm just. Okay.
So now that you have said it, our country, India, have recently made a law permitting a law on LGBTQ. The government of India has allowed LGBTQ to perform in this country. So what are your views on this topic, on this decision taken by the Indian government on LGBTQ? Do you think it is a good step taken by the Indian government, or a bad step taken by the Indian government regarding this LGBTQ, as they have allowed gay marriage?
You know what? Like the Top G said, and Andrew Ted said, the government wants the people to be weak. So we cannot completely depend on the government. They want people to be weak, so that they can control people. Like in that film where that welfare movie, like what Manoj said, it can be completely problem for leaders if the citizens are educated. You see, so the leaders want us to be weak and illiterate. There's also so many theories that the government are controlled by higher up peoples. Like I said, in case of the Western culture and Western society, the governments are being controlled by the higher up community, the secret society, which we call Illuminati. They control the government, and the government do what they say. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the government is just I got it from theories. Conspiracy theories, like the government are being controlled by the Illuminati, and the Illuminati is being controlled by the higher up secret societies like the Illuminati, like in the Western culture, the Western society. When we really look into what the government did, sometimes it's not completely, beneficial for all the citizens. Not like it looks sometimes, you know. When we dive deeper into it, sometimes it's, you know, against the people who wants to hold up good principles, who wants to hold up God's principles, you know.
So it is a bad step.
Yes, it's a bad step, but you know, the government has also certain rules, maybe, you know, because due to the rising population and the rising community of LGBTQ, if they completely ban or completely go against them, it might be an effect to our economy, or it might be an effect to the way the government functions. So the government also has to look on the other side, right? You know, not only on good principles, but if, you know, but it would be much better if they are much more, you know, much more they have much more willpower to be based on good principles and put their trust in the Lord.
Okay, now you're saying that government has taken a bad step deciding regarding this decision taken by them, and you request them if they should have more willpower to go against this, to go along the good principles a man should have.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have talked about the decision taken by the Indian government regarding LGBTQ in India. Now the place we are in is Lumka, and we have seen a rise in LGBTQ activities in Lumka. So is it concerning, or is it okay according to you?
Yes, it's concerning because, like I have said before, correlating with our present situation here in Lumka, we are at war. You know, if we, you know, keep supporting LGBTQ, and we will have a whole bunch of community who are mentally ill, who are ill, depressed, you know, who doesn't have drive to be, you know, better, and who doesn't have principles, good principles, God's principles. You know, how are we going to fight the war? You know, so it's completely concerning, and we should work on the awareness to, you know, to completely remove this thing from our society if we want to grow.
So, Mr. Albert, one of our viewers, Mr. Seitang Hongsai, has quoted, Mr. Joseph, can you please ask the guest speaker that if a man, LGBTQ supporter man, had faced death penalty by the government, would it be justified or not?
I wouldn't say it's justifiable because, you know, as long as we are here on earth, you know, my concept, my philosophy is, you know, we can all go in our own ways, and we can expand our minds in the way we want, you know, but it should be along God's will and God's principle. So, you know, the men supported the LGBTQ community, yeah, which we are also against, but the government, you know, the government giving a death penalty to that guy, will not solve the problem of LGBTQ. It will just, you know, it will just have these LGBTQ people who supported LGBTQ, but they are not brave enough to, you know, say out loud that I support LGBTQ. They will still be supporting LGBTQ deep inside their heart, you know. That's not how they are going to change.
Okay. So now, coming to the last question, Mr. Albert. What do you see? How do you see LGBTQ in 20 years from now?
How I see LGBTQ
After
20 years.
Yes, after 20 years.
LGBTQ view after 20 years from now is it's gonna get worse, and there will be more people who's gonna support LGBTQ because, you know, as the world gets older, as time passes, you know, the devil's plans work more and more, you know, and it's gonna, you know, pull a bunch of people into the, you know, that community which completely defies God's principle, you know, because that is what even God said, because when the time of His coming is near, the whole world is going to collapse. You know, so after 20 years, 50 years, 60 years, you know, it's going to get worse. That's my view.
Okay, now, coming to the end of our discussion, I want to thank Mr. Albert for his views on LGBTQ, and I hope the viewers who are watching this video learn from his knowledge, learn from his conclusion on this LGBTQ matter. Again, for agreeing to this interview. Thank you.
Thank you.